Good afternoon, everybody. It's Dee Fogleman here from Star Moving Solutions. Today is going to be a special podcast. We're going to be joined with a good friend and fellow partner of mine, Yaron Linett with Formal Tradition. He's the best interior designer, hands down, that I've ever met. And the way that he actually goes about taking care of his clients above and beyond is something I've never seen. So let's just get it started. I'm going to ask him a couple questions here, and we're going to talk about the journey into and throughout interior designing with Yaron Linett.
Thank you, Dee. As you mentioned, my name is Yaron Linett. I'm the principal designer of Formal Traditional, a full-service commercial and residential interior design firm, and I have certainly worked with Star Movers before. They are my preferred moving vendor and receiving.
Okay.
And white glove. Final mile.
We do quite a bit for you. So here's my big question for you. Everybody wants to know, what actually got you into this field of work, into interior designing? What is it that started Yaron here?
Well, I sort of fell into it after September 11th, and it just turned into something that I learned. I have near perfect color acuity, and I enjoy doing it, which my wife tells me I always have to remind people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, speaking of your wife, is your wife part of the company? Does she work with you? Does she do, what is her role there?
So my wife is a dual degree holding classically trained artist. She went to the Ontario College of Art and Design, and she does all of our rendering, our VR work, our digitizing, embroidery. She grinds pigments to make paint, she gilds, she sculpts, she faux finishes, and everything else. And my job is to volunteer her to do work for our clients. Say, oh, no worries. My wife can do that.
Your wife can do that.
Yeah.
So in the day of the life of Yaron, what is a typical, and I know every day is different,
Sure.
What's a typical day in business or in life for you? How does it look like? Can you take our viewers through the time that you wake up all the way to the time that you go to sleep, and a shortened Cliff Note version?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll go through what my assistant and I go over every day. So every day what we want to do is we want to follow up on all the emails we receive, schedule appointments. We want to log all of our billables to make sure that we are on top of things and that our records are accurate. We sort transactions, we log mileage, we communicate with vendors, we follow up with trades, and on a weekly basis, we communicate with each of our clients. We run a 100% transparent business, so we don't hide who we work with, we don't hide where we get things, we don't hide what it costs us. You have to be organized in order to do that. So we have an individual 24/7 available folder for each of our clients. It's all online in Google Drive. They can see product schedules, they can see time logs, they can access it whenever they want. And populating those is most of what we do, as well as, of course, waiting for return phone calls and emails, which is really, aside from sitting in traffic, what I do every day. I really just wait for people to get back to me so I can do the next thing while I wait for 66 or 7 or 495 or 15 or 50 to let me get where I need to go.
Okay. So speaking of all those routes, what is the area that you actually cover? I mean, how far out will you go? I know you personally live in, Winchester?
Right, I live right near Winchester.
Mm-hmm.
We go to clients, so we basically go wherever we need. My wife is Canadian, so even though, say, there are about 17 countries that won't let me enter because of my passport, she can go to pretty much all of them. Okay. So the fact is, if someone needs us, the job is something that makes sense and they're a good person, we're happy to work with them. We currently have people in Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, DC. We're headed down to North Carolina. We've been asked about Texas, Florida, and Illinois.
So you're pretty much international as well. Obviously, Star International Movers, we can do it all, but so can you.
I would be very happy to do some international work, provided that, you know, it was right. So if you happen to have a castle in Scotland that you need taken care of, we'll cut you a good deal.
Okay, let's try to get that figured out for you there. All right, so what do you think actually kind of sets Yaron and Formal Traditionals designs apart from the rest of the industry? Because there's so many people out there that say, oh, interior designer, I can do that. That's easy. I just throw a couple colors together. I'm going to put some chairs in there. I'm going to have a table and put a plant on a table. And now, of course, I designed this. But what sets you apart? What makes you different than the next?
Well, first I'll say, you know, like cooking, everybody can cook, right? You can go to the grocery store, you can buy your ingredients, you can make yourself something to eat. It's not always going to turn out, and you're not necessarily using the same ingredients as a chef. But there's also a component of having it done for you, right? Even people who are wonderful cooks sometimes want the experience of having it done for them. They want to go to the restaurant. They want that 3-star Michelin experience. So regardless of if you could do it yourself, we generally work with people who are not interested in doing it. They want it done for them. And what sets us apart from all the other designers, in order to be a designer, you have to be able to put a beautiful room together, right? That's the prerequisite. If you want to be a painter, you have to be able to paint, right? So with us, we run a 100% transparent company, so we don't hide any of these things. We run everything through systems and processes and accountability. So when someone says, I've worked with a designer before, sometimes it was great, and sometimes it was less organized, less systematized. So if you are looking for someone who's a little more on the rules and order and process side, that's me. And we attempt to do all these things still with beauty and artistry.
Okay, very nice. I mean, I've seen some of the work that you've done. I know it comes out fabulous. And I highly recommend that anybody that has the time or has the need or want to actually give you a chance to come in there, because you will definitely impress them. Speaking about impressing, and I've heard that 100% transparent twice now. Mm-hmm. So with transparency, obviously you work with a lot of vendors out there. So what is it that you are looking for personally if working with a moving company? Because us being a moving company, we want to make sure that we give our best and do our part to make you and your clients happy. So what would you be looking for in interviewing Star Movers as your preferred vendor?
Sure. So everybody we work with first has to be licensed and insured. So we'll collect a COI, a certificate of insurance, from everybody. We'll make sure that their insurance is not only current, but sufficient to handle the task. We're not going to let you go into a $3 million house and accidentally leave the water running and destroy the whole thing if you have $1 million of insurance, right? So we make sure everybody's insured, their insurance is current, we want to pull their licenses. So that's step one. Past there, we look for people who are accountable, people who have experience, and we rely on experts because we need to know what we don't know. So a lot of times in our industry, there's this problem where you can direct somebody to do something and you're unaware of the unintended consequences, right? So if I told you I need this truck packed in, first in, last out order, because it's more convenient for us when we're saying, now we're going to do this room and this room and this room, and everything is grouped together and packed together. Well, that's great, but I may have just instructed you guys to go ahead and pack your truck in a way where the weight isn't distributed evenly, and all the weight is all the way to the back or all the way to the front, which
might not be a good thing.
Yeah, might not be ideal. So the way we work is we look for absolute expert partners, ones who've been doing it for a long time, who are responsive and accountable. And then we say, this is where we want to go. Tell us how to get there. Tell us the best way to do this.
Okay. So hands-on, but at the same time respectful, and you say, hey,
Sure.
You're the expert in this. You
Right.
tell us what to do.
Right.
And we've obviously done some projects together, and I appreciate every one of them, all the opportunities.
Same.
From the projects we have personally done together,
Yeah.
do you have one that stands out that might be your favorite project, or your most heartwarming project, or your most difficult project, or, what to you stands out from the ones that we've done so far?
I'm going to say it's, and I don't want this to sound like it was something you guys didn't do, because people who don't do this every day don't understand how common it is, right? So I was doing a project in Winchester that you guys were working on, and a piece went missing. It didn't go missing because you guys lost it. It went missing because the vendor sent it to the wrong place, right? Which happens all the time. All the time. So you guys were on top of it. They ended up eventually sending something wrong way after the project was already done. You guys handled it professionally. You gave me all the information I needed to communicate with my reps. Not everybody does that. Sometimes things will show up. It'll just sit in a warehouse for days or weeks or months. The project itself, you guys received everything, inspected it, which is huge. A lot of companies, they're supposed to receive and inspect everything, but they don't always, and not always in a timely manner. Alerting me even for little damage on the boxes where, there was no damage to the merchandise, unpacking it, reconciling it, giving me an update on everything. You guys delivered it, white glove service, set everything up, took away all the packaging, disposed of it properly, and even did the cleaning, which is not something that everybody does. They should, but not everybody does it. So, when back to your question about screening, when we have someone we're thinking about working with, and if you're thinking about working with a designer or anybody, one of the most powerful questions you can ask is, can I have the contact information for your last 3 clients? Because I want to call them and I want to see what's it really like working with this person. Have you done other work that's similar to exactly what I want to have done? Great. Let me have the contact information for that person. A lot of people say, well, I can't do that. All of our customers are confidential. We don't share that information with anybody. I go, we hold all of our clients' information in confidence also. But most of them are so happy that at the end they say, hey, if you ever need to give anyone our information so that they can speak with us, we'd be happy to be a reference for you. And that's one of the things that, gives you confidence working with a company like Star.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, whether you're doing, I want to know, because we haven't really specified, do you do commercial or businesses? Do you just do residential? If I go into a client's home today and they're moving from one place to another and they have a blank canvas that they're moving to a brand new build, is that a good client for you? Or if I go into somebody's office and they're moving from one office to another office and both of them are fully furnished but they're just moving their essentials, would that be a good client for you? What is an ideal client for your own?
So we do both commercial and residential work. We tend to favor within commercial what's sometimes called lighter duty commercial or residential work. Residential is when you're doing commercial work that feels like a home.
Okay.
So if you think about a doctor's office that doesn't feel sterile, it feels like, it's a living room, or a dentist's office that puts you at ease. A lot of alternative wellness situations, spas, things like that. If you have an attorney who is looking for a very traditional leather-bound book office, be very happy to do that too. Equestrian estates, but really I don't care as much where I work or what I work on. I care about who I work with. Okay. So we like to joke that our ideal client is someone with a rescue dog that I can pet, which I think is very showing, right? It means that this person has a good heart, they care about animals, and they're used to having a little bit of dog hair on things, and maybe things occasionally get chewed on. So those are usually realistic people to work with.
Okay. So an animal lover.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have a little puppy myself.
I've heard that. I've never seen. I've never seen Sissy.
This
so
is going to
she
go
may
on
not
record.
exist.
Sissy is going to be introduced to Yaron because he wants to take her on a walk and see what this little Frenchie is really like. So Yaron, you are going to meet Sissy.
He may have rented a dog that he just takes photos of to try and convince me he's a good guy. Because I have a bag of treats in the car from Trader Joe's. Shout out to Trader Joe's. That Sissy could be eating now, but it's not.
I will say, I think we all love Trader Joe's, so I'll have to double shout out that. No, we could talk about Trader Joe's and everything all day long. What I want to actually finish up and really talk to you about is, in this business, in this life that we live in, right? We're in home services, business to business, all of that. It's all about making your mark. It's all about connecting with others. It's all about referring others. It's all about, your reputation.
Sure.
What a lot of people don't realize is how much Yaron goes outside of his everyday life, and he didn't say this in what he does on a day-to-day basis, and really looks to refer other people business constantly, no matter what he does. I went to lunch with him last week, and he sits there and says, who could you refer in this restaurant? And to me, I don't think of that. I'm like, refer? I don't know. I'm eating my lunch right now. It's good. But he is always thinking about, how can I help someone that I care about? How can I help someone else's business grow? How can I help someone thrive? And that just sets and just says something about the person that you are, which is remarkable. So it's like, go ahead.
I have a lot of time in the car, and my attorney advises me that I'm not supposed to admit to crimes on camera. So I definitely don't make all of these phone calls and referrals in the 40 hours a day that I'm stuck in traffic. But I find time while I'm sleeping. Not behind the wheel.
Okay. While you're sleeping.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, which I don't know what time that is, because whether it's 5 in the morning or 11:30 at night, you're pretty responsive.
Between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m.-ish, give or take.
Okay. Here's my big thing. I think that everybody, like I said, should give Yaron a chance. Meet with him, find out the man behind the myth, basically. But how can we help you, Yaron, in growing your business and getting you in front of more? Because you're a small business. We are too, but we've gotten pretty large.
Sure.
But how can we help get the word out for you?
So we refer to ourselves as boutique. Boutique. Like the average designer, we take approximately 4 to 10 clients a year. And really the thing that is most important for me, or anyone in business, is that the referrals that we give, you guys take care of them, right? When I refer someone and they do an amazing job, that just makes me look better, right? So 90% of all interior design work is generated either from repeat business or direct referrals from existing clients. When I have a client, I mean, the one in Winchester we were talking about, that is the 4th or 5th time I've done work with them. So when my painters do an amazing job, right? When my installers do an amazing job, when the white glove delivery guys do an amazing job, when the process is seamless, that's where all of our business comes from. You know, they're happy, they invite friends over, their friends see, wow, what a transformation. I would love my house to look this way. I would love my office to function this way. So just doing an amazing job does so much for us. That's really the key.
Yeah, I completely understand it. And actually, now that I think about what you're saying, I think a lot of people get confused and they get nervous and scared. They hear white glove. They hear all these words that to them screams, oh my gosh, it's gonna cost me so much money to hire someone to do this for me. When they don't, same thing happens with our industry. They think, oh, it's gonna cost so much for me to pay someone to pack, pay somebody to move, when not necessarily.
Right.
And I think it costs you more if it's not done right the right time, the first time, and you have to do it over and over again. But as well, you know a lot of vendors, so sometimes they're actually saving money by going with you and through your connections and through all the pieces of the puzzle that you can put together. So they're saving time, they're saving money, and in the end, they have a space that they can be proud of. Because I personally have places in my house where, you know, people come to visit and we're just shutting that room down. We're closing the door. We're gonna say the dogs, whatever it takes, so that no one goes into that room and sees the clutter behind the Fogleman's household, right?
Right.
But it's like, for you, I mean, what do you say to those people that are scared to at least just take the step to look into it, to give you a chance to show that it's not gonna break the bank to do your vision?
Sure.
So what do you say to them?
Well, first, at the Foglemans, we all know that the cobbler's children have no shoes. So you've got an amazing team of people here who can come and take care of all that unnecessary stuff. And within any individual person's house, most people say, oh, I would die before I would ever have you over. I'm so embarrassed. I say, well, you know, I'm only called out to people's houses who need help. Like, that's all I see all day, every day. If your house was already immaculate, manicured, taken care of, you wouldn't need me. We tend not to focus on the savings, although there certainly can be a savings. I have wholesale accounts. I simply buy things for less on a reasonable size interior design job. Typically, design fees are equal or more than offset by the savings on product, depending on the way in which any designer charges and the specific things that they source. But it's a luxury service, and to us, to define luxury, it's anticipating needs, right? So if we were talking about your house or anybody's house, one way that we eliminate clutter is we make sure that there is enough storage for each of these things, and that storage is in the appropriate room. So we like to store all of the items that are used in a place in that same place. So in all these rooms, if we just organized a little differently and had a little storage, I'm sure you could get where you wanted to go in a very reasonable amount of time. And as far as, the cost, I'd like to, I know you're the commercial move manager, I'd like to switch over to a commercial job. The first job we did with my firm 9 years ago, it was a commercial establishment, a brewery, that was about 2.5 blocks from my office. And they had some chairs being delivered. And I told them, rather than me staying here all day waiting for the delivery, it's not a good use of your money for me to just sit here all day. Call me when the truck arrives. I'm literally 2 blocks away. I will exit out the back of my office and walk down the hill, and I'll come and I'll take care of it. And they didn't do that. Instead, they signed for 200 chairs that weren't delivered on pallets because the mover, who's obviously not Star, had an accident, smashed a pallet, and just wrapped all those chairs to each other and delivered them. So they had 200 damaged chairs that they signed for. And luckily I was able to speak to the manufacturer and get them replaced. But even beyond that, now there's how do you dispose of 200 damaged chairs? What about, packaging? What about everything else? So sometimes there's a very high cost to low price. And we also say there's nothing more permanent than temporary. So a lot of people say, I'm just going to get this for now. I would encourage everyone to look around their house and see all the things that they said are just for now, that are still there, driving them nuts 10 years later. And if we just took a little time and put some intention into it and got the right thing initially, you could have enjoyed it the entire time. So,
I appreciate that.
Every time you move someone, right, and they're selling their house and they have a brand new suite of appliances, but there's just that little pang in their heart. We lived for 5 years, 10 years with the old appliances, and now we just spent all this money giving someone else brand new appliances that we've never even used. We could have done something, even just a couple of years ago, and they would have still been fine. Your countertops will last indefinitely. We could have put in those countertops. You could have enjoyed them the entire time you lived in the house, as opposed to redoing the kitchens and bathrooms just to hand to someone else.
So you're saying, redo your stuff early, spend some time in your house with these appliances, with these items, enjoy it before you.
There's a very famous designer, Corey Damon Jenkins, who I quote all the time, and he said, investing in your happiness is not an expense.
Okay. Now is that your idol when it comes to interior designing?
There are a lot of interior designers who I greatly admire. He is a very good, very hardworking individual who is seeing a lot of success. Congrats on publishing your next book. Locally in Warrenton, I'm very fond of Barry Dixon as well, both his style and as a personal individual.
Can we get one of those books signed?
I'm sure we can. I will see them in market.
Okay.
I mean, there are hundreds, thousands of extremely talented designers who do a lot of beautiful work, and it just depends on what any given person likes. A lot of people don't understand. They think that you're Candace Olsen or you're Rachel Ashwell or you're Martha Stewart, Chip and Joanna Gaines, whomever, and you're going to go in there and you're going to impose your taste on the client. And that's not how it works. Even at the highest levels of our industry, people don't hire us to put in what we want. They hire us to design in their voice, to give them what they would want. We say we make our decisions in the way our clients would make them if they knew the things that we know.
Okay. Well, I know that's probably about all the time we have today, but Yaron, I want you to let everybody here know how do they get in touch with you? How do you get in touch with Yaron if you have any kind of questions about your office, your home, your business, whatever space it is, freshening it up, making it look better, making it look more lovable, livable?
Well, I'm available at www.formaltraditional.com, where you can see our work. You can actually go in, if you do VR, you can put yourself inside some of our projects, or you can reach out to star movers who know how to get in touch with me also. Dee would be very happy to refer me.
I absolutely would. Hey, Yaron, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you for watching. This is Dee Fogleman, Yaron Linett, and we're on the move.